How we doing? How we doing? This is Destination Denver, Colorado, and today, sometimes we gotta face facts, and growth in Colorado has slowed down, so I'm here to give you 10 reasons why everybody stopped moving to Denver, Colorado, and we're starting right now. All right, this is Destination Denver, Colorado. I'm your host, Jimmy Evertson. Listen, if you're interested in learning all the ins and outs, pros and cons to moving to or around Denver, Colorado, then this is a channel for you. So that subscribe button and notification icon you see on your screen, make sure you click on that as I'm dropping new videos for you each and every week. And as much as I try to be a little creative and educational here on camera, I'm also a licensed mortgage broker covering the entire state of Colorado and team with some of the state's best and most talented realtors, and we are helping people move here each and every day. So the number and email you see on your screen, know that I am always the person answering your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there when and if you need me. Now that we have that fun-filled stuff out of the way, let's get to the real stuff, and that is the 10 reasons why everybody stopped moving to Denver, Colorado. Now, I'd imagine when you look at any city, pros, cons, good, bad, indifferent, some of these are going to be obvious, some of them not so much. But let's start with number one and the most effective or ineffective manner of why people are not moving to Denver, and that is cost of living. The fact is, Denver has become a pretty expensive place to live. No, we are not New York City or Miami or San Francisco, but we're not cheap either. We used to be a very affordable place for people who were looking to get into the mountains, get more into nature, and that just is not the case. Basically, starting from around 2011, 2012, as the city started to grow, that affordability continued to push. We are now more than 1.5 times the cost of living average as the nation. That continues to rise, and affordability is an issue for a lot of people living here. And that obviously includes the cost of housing, the cost of rent, the cost of enjoying activities here, whether you're going to concerts, whether you're going out to hotels, whether you are going up to the mountains, if you want to ski. So a lot of the amenities are more expensive. So just the overall cost of your living expenses and your experiences here in Colorado are stretching people for some past the point of comfort, and that's why they have either moved away or are not moving here anymore. And while I can tell you ski slopes can be very expensive, mountain biking isn't cheap, but you may or may not know that already. Second, and I think this is impacting obviously a ton of people that are thinking about moving here, and that is the availability of real estate. The supply in Denver, and this is not a Denver or Colorado centered thing. Plenty of these large population dense areas are having this issue, but housing is at a shortage right now. Construction has not kept up. There were several years in which they were not even coming close to building the number of houses needed for communities. Denver is no different there. They're no exception. So there is a housing shortage in Denver that is more on the buying side of real estate than renting, although rentals have still been impacted by it. And again, when we go back to affordability, that's part of the reason there. So the ability to find real estate that captures you or that people want has been a problem in Denver. Number three, and that is how competitive the job market is out here. Now, Denver has a very strong economy. The economy has grown steadily for decades with some, obviously, blips in that growth. It is based on several different industries. We talk about it all the time: technology, finance, education, healthcare, oil and gas. So it's not just one or two industries that keep us going. What we have seen, though, is that some of the higher paying jobs either are, again, highly competitive because they're highly sought after. Maybe they become more remote than anything, or some of those are moving away. So the job market in general has become more competitive than we had seen it. Again, you have population growth, all of these things, kind of a natural progression. Does that affect everybody? No, but it is certainly a factor that is top of mind for a lot of people and impacting whether or not they will call Denver home in the future. Number four, and I'm going to tell you right now, this is a biggie for people living here already, and that is traffic and infrastructure. So Denver used to be the type of town where getting around took you maybe 15 to 30 minutes. 30 minutes was a long drive in Denver. Now, at times it can be routine for that 20-minute to 30-minute drive to become 45 minutes, to become an hour, depending on how bad traffic is. And as population has grown and obviously traffic has gotten worse, it's not New York bad, it's not Los Angeles bad, but it's bad. And Denver doesn't really have the infrastructure to fix it. A lot of what this city was built and modeled around was a smaller city. It wasn't built to have this much density. When you look at, I use I-25 a lot as an example. That is our north-south running highway. That highway runs right along the city, right on the edge of it. So they can't extend it. There really isn't the ability to add a lane going either direction on I-25. Now, they've done a lot for our highways and county roads in the outskirts of town or in areas where they can, but there are certain places where it just can't get better. That includes roads, that includes certain water lines. Water rights are a big challenge for Denver, and this is, again, that's a nationwide problem. Getting water to certain regions in the future is going to be a big problem. Mark it down now. But Denver, again, is dealing with that. So traffic and infrastructure are some big factors of why people are considering maybe not making Denver their home. Number 5, and maybe this would be a no duh for some people, but it's climate. So you have people who move here thinking that, I don't know, maybe I think there's people that move here and think that the winter is going to be worse than it is, and they don't mind the fact that it's not as bad. But then you also have people who move here and for some reason don't realize that it does snow, that it does get cold, that there are, at least sometimes some periods where you don't want to be outside. I think there are people who move here and again, they don't realize that it's a high plains desert. They don't realize that it's as dry as it can be. They don't realize the altitude can get to you. I do think you get used to altitude, but that the altitude can affect you. So climate is a big factor for some people who come here, visit, hang out for a while, and then realize, okay, maybe Denver is not the spot for them. The 6th is the increased population. And I know I talked about population in relation to traffic, in relation to cost of living and real estate. But when we talk about an increase in population, it's just affecting the amenities of the town. I'm going to tie these into a couple different places, but there's just a lot more people everywhere. And it impacts going to shows, it impacts going to sporting events, it impacts going to restaurants. Do I feel that it is a huge thing? No, I think Denver has room for further growth. There's a lot of things they have to solve, but population growth in general has been something that has turned some people off. And it has also caused a lot of people who have lived here for a period of time, for decades in fact, to move away, because Denver has shifted from a smaller city to one that is gaining in size. The city of Denver itself is roughly 750,000 people. It's not like Denver is this massive city, but Denver combined with its suburbs really starting to grow, and that is turning some people off. Along with that population growth, I would say number 7, and that is kind of a change in culture. Now, to me, I'm a fan of how Denver has become more of a melting pot. There's a lot of different people from a lot of different areas, a lot of different backgrounds moving here and blending all together. Now, there was a time Denver kind of gets pegged as being, I call it a cow town. There was a time when there were ranches nearby Denver, and you did feel a little old westy about the city. And there's still suburbs nearby that can give you that type of energy and experience. But I think there are people that they're kind of bummed that is not really the energy of Denver anymore. The energy of Denver is a mix of, we joke about that fact that you don't run into locals or natives. We love to talk about those of us who are natives, but you don't run into very many of us anymore. More often than not, when you're downtown or you're at an event and you ask somebody where they're from, they'll tell you, maybe they've lived in Denver or Colorado for years and years, but they're from another state. And when we meet someone and they say, oh, I grew up in this part of Denver, we act like it's a big deal. Like, whoa, you're the only other native that still lives here. I think there's people that, like myself, who find that just kind of humorous and lighthearted. And then there are people who are really taken aback by the fact that the culture has changed here, that a bunch of people from other states and other places have moved here. And Colorado loves to pick on California. And not, I don't have anything, great, bad, whatever, indifferent. I'm pretty indifferent about California. But for as long as I can remember, when I was a little kid and somebody did something wrong in this state, it was guaranteed that the person who witnessed it would say, oh, that person's got to be from California. So that culture change, maybe the energy change, I don't know, it's one of the drawbacks that people have, and one of the reasons that people have slowed down or started to move away from Denver. I keep ending my points by telling you that's why they're moving away from Denver, as though you didn't understand that was the concept of the video, but I feel like I'm just kind of like checking. See, that's why. Check, they moved. Number 8, and this is going to tie a lot into that population growth, but it's the fact that outdoor activities, just your ability to enjoy them in the same way is changing. And many of you you've gone to, a national park, or you've gone to a very popular trail anywhere where you're coming from, and you're out about and there's just a lot of people there. There's a lot of people on a trail. There's a lot of people at a venue or a lake out in the mountains or something like that. Now, Colorado, there's a lot of these trails that you used to go to where you might run into a handful of people. Now, you go to just about any trail and you're going to run into several people. That could be a big deal for you, or you could not care. Now, I will admit that I'm kind of hit or miss there. There are trails that I go to that I know they're going to be packed. I know that there's going to be a lot of people there. My wife and I were married at this venue that is very close to a hike called Lair of the Bear, just outside of Morrison, Colorado. And we know if we go to that trail to walk past that venue, there's always a lot of people on that trail, hiking, biking, wouldn't matter if population had grown or not. There's also these secluded places that, you got used to going to and kind of having all to your own. And a lot of those, it's just not that way anymore. More people, more adventuring, can't really fault them for it, but that is one of the things that people are noting. And so you have a lot of people who are looking for less densely populated or less populated areas where they can experience some of this outdoorsy without as many people. And don't even get me started on the ski slopes. I hear it all the time. I'm not a big skier, never have been, won't claim to be, but a lot of friends, colleagues, everyone who goes up to the mountains talks about, 1, how expensive it is, and 2, just how many people will hit these slopes on any given day, where you just have lines that are insane. You might as well, be at Disney World. Number 9, and again, I kind of feel like this is one of those, like, what did you think you knew? But, marijuana is legal in Colorado. And it affects different people in different ways. I've never had legal marijuana, has never, that I can recall, it's never impacted me. I definitely think that it brought more people here. I do think, it had an impact on certain social factors, certain economic factors, without a doubt. But just the mere fact of it being legal, the mere fact of people smoking it, not my thing. But for some it is. For some people it is not something they like. It's not something they're accustomed to. It's something they're concerned with. Maybe they don't want their family around it. They don't want their kids around it. Maybe they just have a personal issue with it. Completely understand that. So the fact that marijuana is legal here has certainly been something that has persuaded people to move here. And it's certainly, again, one of the reasons that they are not moving here. Did it again. See, check. They did move here. And 10, and I just have to mention it because when I asked people just, openly, like, what do you think is causing people not to move here, to move away? One of the biggest ones, and I try to dodge it as much as I can, but it's political. Colorado has shifted to more of it's a blue leaning state. Denver, especially, is blue leaning. Now, I'm not going to get into any political debates. I care less. It's more about how it impacts me personally, but I have people who do not. They're just not about that. They don't like the things that they are seeing politically change in the city. We're seeing that a lot with people who will get a bunch of people moving from, as an example, Texas or Florida, coming here because they say they don't like the conservative plans in their states, they move here. And then same thing, we'll have a ton of people from Colorado and Denver who are moving down to, as an example, a Texas, a Florida, because they don't like the more liberal ideas that are coming out of Denver. So it'll be very interesting to see how that plays out in the near future. Colorado for the longest time was red for the longest time. It was purple for a while, seems to be blue at the moment, but we'll see how that plays out. Now I'll tell you, I still live in Denver, 10 minutes outside of the city. I have zero intentions of moving. I still think that Denver and its surrounding area is one of the best places in the entire nation that you could live. I'll continue to assist people moving here, but I also understand people who decide that it is not best for them, and that's why I always want to make these videos to educate people who are looking to or looking not to move here. Having said that, I would love to get your take on that decision, and my number and email on the screen. Know that I am always the person, answer your phone calls, answer your texts, answer your emails, there when and if you need me. This is Destination Denver, Colorado. I am your host, Jimmy Everett. That was 10 reasons everybody stopped moving to Denver, Colorado. Until I see you next time, peace.